The Beef and Barnzy Show, brought to you by Bowlersmart.com, trusted by bowlers around the world since 2004. By Lightning Strikes Bowl, home of Bowlers Mart Pro Shop. By Platinum Ford, drive the difference. By Fire Lake Bowling Center, 24 state-of-the-art lanes. By True Grit Coatings, drive on our passion. By Road to Grip, king of them all. By 900 Global, striking worldwide.
Good morning and welcome to the Beef and Barnzy Show. But today we got a little different twist. We're going straight Barnzy squared. Just talking Barnzy today, as I'm joined by the up and coming and I guess by most accounts at least the second best bowler in the family now. Ryan Barnes, how are you this morning?
Doing good. How are you?
I am doing all right as I'm getting this thing shared out.
Living the life on the water.
Well, as you can see, it's not the worst thing ever around here. It's pretty nice here on the river here in Roseburg, Oregon, home of Mark Anderson and also my former roommate on tour, Brian Smith. So joined by a few already. We'll get this shared out and then we'll get going. Beef has other things going on today. He could not join us. He'll be here Thursday, as we will also have Darren Tang, the winner of the big 10K tournament in Phoenix last weekend.
Saw that.
Not so bad. What did you have going on this weekend?
Me, I had to work the SYC in Wichita.
And what is the SYC?
The Storm Youth Championships.
Yeah?
Yeah.
At North Rock?
Huh?
At North Rock?
Yeah, at North Rock. All the stud youth bowlers, they throw it sick.
There's a few now. On average, how many would you say are two-handed?
Below 15, 80%.
Really?
I mean, on the guy side, yeah.
You had to be over 15 for it to be more than just a few?
Yeah, there's still a lot of two-handers in the 18 division, but there's still a bunch of one-handers.
Gotcha. We're starting to fill in now. A little slower this morning. Getting in 8 a.m. here on the West Coast, so a little earlier arrival than usual. You don't have a class today, I guess, at your usual time. So
yeah, got a 2-week break. Not break, but online.
Stephen Hawk. So coming up here next for you, what's next for you? What do you got the next couple weeks?
Next, I have a Kansas City tournament this weekend. Got Swiss Trios, Oklahoma Regional. It's either Nightmare Doubles or Springfield Doubles. And then first college tournament, and then Nightmare Doubles or Springfield Doubles.
I think Springfield is October 8, 9, 10, I believe.
Yeah, so.
And the other one is?
OKC, then Springfield.
This week in Car Audio. I am in Roseburg, Oregon. At obviously not a place that we can afford here where the rich folk are on the river. And it's beautiful here. It's certainly not Texas. It's about 70 degrees out here right now. It's amazing. Yeah. This guy knows. He's got a little Colorado weather going on. So not so bad. So I hear a lot about the Swiss there in Wichita. What tell people here on the West Coast know what Swisses are, but it's not really a common thing everywhere else around the country. Explain that a little bit.
It's a trios tournament. The way it works is kind of like league system almost. There's like five points per 6 games a day. It's position round every time. You pull a person across and 2 for totals. And there's 2 days of that. It's a big deal in Wichita.
You guys get a lot of teams in there, Phils, every year. I mean, you said last year you guys were on the waiting list and you signed up while the tournament was still going on from the year before.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Feel like that sometimes, I guess.
Kevin Denny just shot a big 800 set.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, put a monster on him. Yeah, this is a fancy background. I wish I could afford CGI this good. Production of this show would be way better if we could do that, huh?
I didn't know it was green screen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Steven, this looks very just like me. Just matching up my personality. So, but yeah, every game is a position round. You guys bowl Baker. The same guy bowl anchor all the time?
Yeah, I think the lineup stays the same. Could be wrong.
Well, there might be some bait getting drowned later on today. We'll have to see how it goes. So, here's the first question for Ryan. Have you thought about getting a staff contract with 900 Global?
I mean, yeah, but it's not up to me.
Swiss are fun, but long days.
Swiss is very fun.
Yeah, I think I imagine a contract is in his future at some point, but he does have a connection to get balls now, so till they're willing to pay a little bit.
I know a guy,
and there'll be a point where that's earned on both sides and it works out. This is a good question because people don't really understand how college bowling works. Are you allowed to be under contract while bowling amateur in college?
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys on the team and most colleges that are on staff with Brunswick or Global or Storm or a bunch of those companies. Motive.
Yeah, the men's bowling is not under NCAA rules, and so you can bowl pro tournaments, you can bowl amateur money tournaments, you can bowl anything. It's basically it's considered a club sport on the guy's side. So no NCAA oversights there. Are the trees moving around? No, they're not. Well, they're not, but it's just because there's no air whatsoever. But sitting on a beautiful deck.
The green screen's sick.
Yeah. It pans 360. David Tolson, how's the fundraising efforts going for the college team?
It's going good. Going good. Everyone's helping out a lot.
Can you have an amateur contract?
Yes. All right.
You guys that do, right?
I haven't. Yeah. I think Kep does. Could be wrong, but
Spencer. I think Spencer does too, right?
Yeah.
So Nightmare doubles, who you bowling that with?
Packy.
And Springfield doubles. That's Kevin.
That's Spencer.
And that's with Spencer.
Home field advantage.
At Enterprise.
Yeah.
Another good tournament.
On Roblox.
Your grandmother saying hi.
Hi, Grandma.
Ryan, what's your favorite ball at the moment?
Favorite ball. Reality. Or Infinite. It's one of those two, I think.
Yeah, we've talked about the Infinite quite a bit. And if I like it, Stu likes it, and Boy Wonder here likes it. I mean,
I like it for different reasons, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff, there's two decent partners. Better half likely be working the Springfield tournament. It's kind of wild how it comes full circle. I've been going to Enterprise since it was new, and that was probably my junior year in college, maybe senior year, somewhere in there. So, yeah, they finally took down the pictures on the wall. There's too many 300s. So,
I forgot about you.
Yep. Wearing a bad shirt and a bad haircut. So, let's see, Mark. We had a contest of who can make Stu laugh, and that's the ball that Mark Henderson was the. There you go, January 1991, junior year in college.
Unreal.
And they took the pictures down. Yeah, I had some pink and blue shirt or something. Yeah. Brian, what's your favorite ball from 90s to now?
That one.
Yeah.
The one with the yeah.
We've had a couple good ones. The momentum during my that was my player of the year. Pretty much, we didn't have very many balls to choose from at the time. That was a good one. The action then, you go way back. The original Black Thunder, that one was really good. And there was a bunch of them in that little range. They remade a few of them. Obviously, the Respect when I first signed on with Global, and now Reality and Zen. Kind of those are easy ones to like. And the one thing they all have in common is they're generally all low RG, big flaring symmetrical balls. So,
Except for the Flux.
ooh, the Flux. The Flux was pretty good there for a while. Well, here you go. You like dual angles. For dual angle layouts, is it viable for the first angle to exceed 90 degrees?
Yes, it just for two-handers, I think. I don't know about for one-handers, but it makes your yeah.
Yeah, and I would say, even so, we've been talking about flipping around upside down. We were talking about the old Omega who had the clock with just letters on it, and A and E, which were 12 and 6, were the two best ways to lay it out. Well, we didn't know anything about mass bias, but obviously, one way the mass bias was at the bottom, and the other way the mass bias was at the top. Would be the assumption, although we didn't actually know where it was, but it had to be on opposite sides of the ball. So I think there's a lot of things there that could work. So,
One of my favorite layouts is like 95 by 4.5 by 60.
there you go. Mark Anderson's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice enough to flash me.
Yes, sir. Full moon, bright and early.
Yeah. Thoughts on the Burner Pearl? Good for burn, double burn, or do you prefer a stronger engine? No, I actually think, generally speaking, those lower end balls you kind of stay away from. They're too weak. But Stu got me on to he was using a burner quite a bit, and kind of incorporated into the bottom end as that drier lane. It can be used as either an angular or kind of a control ball, depending on drilling, and you can use it more and more. So, wow, this is a guy who digs deep into the archives here. How was I able to play first arrow on the 44-foot shark pattern that only tells you to play fourth arrow and deep? That one was really flat, and they were really hard, and so by playing out, at least when you hit the pocket, you had a chance to strike. There's been a pretty big swing in how we build patterns now. From it seems like that's only 15 years ago, but it was actually 43 feet, and it was so slick you couldn't really get it to hook from in there, and it wasn't just because rev rates were a little lower, But now we don't build patterns like that anymore, and so Walter and I actually both bowled for the title. We both played out, I believe. So it was, you just had to get the ball going uphill. No throwing it left to right. It went left to right, it stayed right. So
Living it rough. Living it
yeah.
rough.
Yeah, I believe that's got to be on your end, I believe. Nobody else is saying anything. Good question here. What are you majoring in college?
Sport management.
And what does that involve?
We're doing like revenue management classes, sport law classes, cognitive psychology, and some other stuff right now. But it's mostly involved in events and the HR and the sports coordinator side of sports. So
Sports coordinating?
yeah,
Meaning what?
like running events, running teams, that kind of stuff.
Like those places where you have basketball tournaments or baseball tournaments and kind of facilities?
Yeah, and also like sport organizations where,
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's good to know where the money's going. I like it. How's Mr. Anderson these days? He's doing all right. He's doing all right. This is actually his place. Obviously, he is doing better than most, and on the treatment end of things, getting scans today, but things are good. So, why do you think today's pattern seems so hard and low scoring at the regional levels? That's been a thing just this year. I believe there was a reaction because basically left-handers were winning almost every region, playing the gutter with urethane, and I believe there is a move to try and change that. But to change that, most of the time you have to move them off the gutter and take away some of the free hook on the outside. And so, yeah, a lot of the patterns were way harder this year in the region. Almost at some points, I would say harder than what they were on the national tour. And so, as always, there'll be another swing and it'll move back the other way. If I was thinking about bowling for college, I'd probably apply there to Wichita.
You could do worse. You could do worse.
If you're looking to go and make a living out of bowling, that's a great that's a good one. How about a Bone and Barnzy father-son podcast?
Sure.
I'm watching Darren Tang videos today. Well, that's good. He'll be joining us on Thursday, too, to talk about his win, along with all of his different streaming channels and what's been going on in Vegas and the West Coast. And so we'll get you hooked up and up to date with him as much as we can. So how long have you – just talk about your story a little bit. We've talked about it before, but we can throw it out there again. Two-handed versus one-handed, what's the biggest difference for you?
Biggest difference, I mean, it's power. It's not really close either. I don't know. I wasn't very good one-handed, so last time I bowled one-handed, I was 13, I think. I actually blew a strike ball, so.
Yeah, in league. I guess you were bowling with me maybe 3-4 times a year, whatever it was.
I don't even remember it, so.
But May of 2020, started bowling again, and by then it became kind of obvious that Simo had shown us that there wasn't really anything you couldn't do two-handed that you could do one-handed. So
no disadvantage.
Seemed like the biggest upside, and you get natural power. It's hard to control.
Yeah.
Well, Alan Riley's here, so I mean, we got that going for us. So, yeah, Jeff Phillips be up in the Wichita area. Daniel Layton, he not the biggest fan of urethane. Any advice on how to use it and what balls and layouts you use? Urethane's pretty relative to rev rate. So if your rev rate's not, I would say over 325 or so, there's not really any need to throw it. I think you can throw some of those more reactive balls and or even 2-inch pins and things like that and get way more out of it. You get more hit out of it. Other than that, drilling them strong, pins close to your leverage to 3 3/8 and keeping them up so that they flare a little bit. Troy Lynn, this dude throws it good.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of being left-handed, which we try not to be too prejudiced about on here, but
yeah.
Well, so I like the 95 by 45 by 4.5 by 45.
Basically, the what happens is the CG gets moved far enough left that it makes it like smooth off the spot. I use this layout on my Axiom Pro. It's the layout
okay.
It blends out the wet dry. It doesn't hook a whole lot down lane unless I really, really slow down. So it's more about like keeping it in front of me and blending out the wet dry most of the time. So
that layout gives you a ton of control.
Yeah, a ton of control.
And for those that aren't familiar with dual angle, what does 95 by 4.5 by 45? What's that look like?
It's pin above for me. Pin above my ring, and then the CG is kicked to the left and below my middle finger.
Okay. So in the old school 4.5 by 6 or so.
Yeah, it's
When we used to do pin to CG is the only thing that mattered. And so you do that on asymmetrical or just symmetrical balls?
I haven't really tried it on ASIM. Yeah, I don't know why.
Well, most of the time when mass bias gets on that side, it makes them roll.
Yeah, I don't
Not as good.
really try anything over there.
But anyway, if you're trying to make it smooth, I'm not sure it makes sense to get an asymmetrical ball because those are all built to change directions quicker. So, um, so 95 on if you had your thumb in it, then that would put the pin way lower.
Yeah, bring it.
That'd be below the center line even. Be below a Rico.
It'd probably be around the center line.
Okay. So to answer the other questions earlier, yes, I think those are bigger than 90-degree layouts are usable. They're probably nichier as far as you're trying to really control ball reaction in general and reduce flare. David Tolson, I see a lot of bowlers try the two-handed style and lack balance and coordination. What's the key to maintaining good balance and consistency?
Balance at the line, slide foot being stable, and obviously your head being stable. I think something I need to work on a little bit more.
Well, it's tricky with two-handed because you have to create a more spine angle than one-handers do to create backswing because with your left hand on the ball, it can't go up as high.
Yeah.
But balancing that with not getting excessive spine angle, so you're not going this way quite as much. A few people pull it off, both one-handed and two-handed. I mean, Pete and Simo are the two that probably do the best job of having a lot of motion, but they bowled a million games too to make it work. So basically keeping your center of gravity around your belt buckle I've found to be pretty standard for both one-handed and two-handed.
Yeah.
To be there. So from the cheap seats, do you approach the game time any differently in bowling than you did in basketball? And for those that don't know, you played on a few different top 20 and top 50 in the nation high school basketball teams. Started on the top 51. Played with 6 different D1
Yeah, some studs.
guys.
Not really. I kind of just attack it the same way. Want to win. I don't.
You what?
So I just want to win. I don't really do much other than that, you know.
Are you preparing? Are you preparing for what's next? Are you trying to figure out what happens, or are you just?
Well, there's more time to prepare during bowling, so in between shots and that kind of stuff.
But when you're setting up arsenals and things like that, how?
There's a lot of thinking that goes into it. It depends on where I'm bowling. I mean, generally my core stays the same. Add some balls around it, but yep.
Mark, yes, I recommended polishing the Nova. Polish my Nova before league on Thursday. Ball is much more consistent, in my opinion. Thank you for that advice. Well, you can thank. He was the one that put me on that deal.
Nova, good.
Yep, Nova ball good, especially on league. If you got the new 3G shoes, Ryan, which ones are you using?
The black, what are they?
Black Tours, I think.
Black Tours. They're super comfy.
Not quite as stiff as the orange and black ones.
Yeah, not quite as stiff.
Got a little matte finish to them. They do
cool.
look, yeah, kind of a cool new look, and yeah, you put them to use right away. What's that? What do you do for one? Yep, Mom wants to know if you're staying out of trouble.
I've been playing 2K for about 3 days straight now, so.
When it comes to polishing, though, how often should you polish a ball?
I polished my Nova once, and then I left it alone.
Yeah. I I would say probably less than once a month, unless you're at a place that really, really beats them up, or
Just got
you
dirty
have big
cinnamon.
versions that taking the polish off. Yeah, once that polish gets in there, it really, even if it gets a little less shiny, it's still kind of in the ball. So it takes some wet sand and get it off. Alan Riley, fans want to know over under on number of jerseys that die over the course of the competition schedule.
Or at least 50. I don't know. None.
That's a good answer.
Oh, Alan.
Hi from D. Hague. Yeah, I know. If only he was as funny as he thinks he is.
Exactly. Mom laughed at him one time. Now all of a sudden he's a big deal.
Reality, Gem, Supernova. You can only pick one. What do you go with?
Reality, it's not really all that close for me, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a better question. The Gem, I love for me, that's a first ball out of the bag. And for those that watch this, regularly know that I'm the earliest rolling ball that I can throw that still goes through the pins. And so on a sport pattern, that Gem is the first one out. Reality is a little more shape, and for me, the Supernova is a little longer than that, and that's where the question kind of comes in. I have a Reality and a Supernova that I both like a lot. Reality's been my go-to though for quite a while. The Supernova is the first ball that I've considered that it can kind of fit in that slot better than anything else I've seen in a while. So it's actually a legit question for me for the first time in a while. I don't think you've thrown a Supernova yet.
No.
But as good as that Reality is, I don't see it happening. Well, and this is true. This is why Alan and I are friends. He's funny for the one person that matters.
He's
only
probably
have to laugh, then it works. So
he's probably cackling to himself right now.
NBA 2K, as big a fan as you are, Michael LeBron.
I didn't watch Michael play, so it's hard to say, yeah, Michael or yeah, LeBron. Like, it's not the same.
I think that's pretty. Everybody thinks the best player in the generation that they watched it the most, that's the best player.
Yeah, I mean,
so everybody my age just says Michael, and
everyone's biased. It's fine.
Yeah. So Michael was more dominating in his own era than LeBron is dominating in this era, even though LeBron is the best player.
Dominated for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. There's more than a few guys that quietly say Kobe was basically the second best.
Kobe.
Which he doesn't make the list on most lists, but some of the guys that played with both those guys, Shaq's for a guy who had a feud with Kobe, supposedly. Yeah. So. And Alan Riley, still a douche.
Oh, you got him started. There he goes.
Man, you feed the trolls and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a sports guy. Thoughts on the college and NFL games? Man, what a wild NFL weekend. You can sure tell. I mean, it's only one extra game, but the teams act like they got like 4 extra games. And so like the first couple weeks don't matter.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Number of teams that just don't look offenses that don't look ready. You could sure tell the teams that had new offenses or offensive coordinators or quarterbacks. There's not a lot of
defense side too. I mean,
yeah, if your defenses had big turnovers, they struggled as well, especially ones that complicated systems. But man, it's I don't think it was quite as crazy as the people that pay attention to that kind of stuff. New England struggling with a new offense wasn't a surprise. Denver's, I still thought they were a lot better team than Seattle was, but they didn't look like it last night.
Not really.
Seattle got surprised them early, and then their defense settled in. And Denver's defense is legit. They held them the rest of the game, but
yeah,
they just couldn't score. And so, On the college side, I mean, it's too bad that Texas really outplayed. That's as bad a game as Alabama will probably play all year, and Texas didn't win. So I always think it's hard to figure out who the best college teams are anyway, because you don't really have that good a line on the players.
Too bad Stu and Tina aren't here.
But yeah, like my peeps here, the chefs, they look like they didn't miss a beat.
They didn't miss anything.
I don't know if, I mean, Mahomes will probably be lucky to be a top 15 quarterback without Tyreek. Absurd. Polish Nova has been amazing at the Supernova. Worth a look. How do they play off each other? I think the Nova's a little slower until you put polish on it. And so now the Supernova out hooks it a little bit. The Nova is the ball down, smoother off of it. An OU fan here. Texas was almost back. It's probably the best big game they played in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alan Riley remembers back when Missouri actually beat KU, and they used to 15 years ago. Miami beats the Patriots all the time, even when they were great. So
it's silly.
John Goodman, he's one of your. This is one of your.
Yeah, that's one of my guys. Yeah.
John and I both college together. Is it still fun to shoot at 10 pins in the WSU Rec Center on Lane 1?
Yeah. I mean, I still kick the crap out of it every time I go shoot a spare, and then I kick it afterward too because I probably missed it. So
they did make a cutout at like just above knee height, I guess. So
yeah,
there's a little bit of room for your left hand.
No, you still hit it on the wall on the way up. I mean, I'm two-handed, so you know.
Yeah, your left hand's not in the way on the way back, like the rest of us had to change. But yeah, I don't think there's not much about bowling the RC is actually that fun.
RC is rough.
The Lions look a lot better. Well, at this point, you shouldn't have many expectations about the Lions.
Expectations are low, only up from here.
They scored a lot of points. Here's a decent question. JJ, to both you, why are lots of people like darker color bowling balls? What's the difference between bright colors and dark colors in pours of bowling balls?
I feel like they look more continuous to the eye, so people like that shape better. But I don't know.
I think that's true. I think dark colors don't. They look like they go longer. When balls have like a light and a dark part to them, you can see them rev up, and you can see when they start to rev up, even though they haven't changed directions yet. And so when you see that part in your eye, you say, oh, the ball's picking up, versus a really dark ball, which is doing the same thing, but you can't see it. So you don't see the change of direction until it actually changes direction. But the other reason is that for a lot of companies, there's carbon, I think it's black carbon fiber is kind of what, it's a powder that goes into the dark, and it's a heavier dye that goes in to make those bright colors. And they have changed ratios to make the light and dark mix the right way. And so a lot of times bright colors will tend to hook earlier. But besides that, to your eye, they look like they hook earlier. And that reality, that perception becomes a reality, whether it is or not. Ryan, how did you get a gem hybrid way before it hit the overseas market?
I didn't get one. Got a gem with some blue oil in it.
Yeah. Neither one of us got one, but we did bowl that royal family together, and the blue oil turned the yellow green, and so our gem is way different. Huh. You think you're rooming with your dad on tour after you graduate?
You still going to be out there in 2 years?
That's a lot longer contemplation than I expected. Living around the Kansas region, are either one of you guys K-State or KU? I mean, Ryan actually, he was born in Texas, but I grew up in Topeka, 20 minutes from Kansas and 60 minutes from Kansas State, but I was a KU fan. So,
yeah, KU.
Ryan, you 1v1 with Packy, Kansas Bowling Center.
Yeah, I've bowled him on North Rock, I think, once or twice.
Yeah.
Supposed to run it back. My revenge.
RSTX3 versus UFO Alert.
X3 significantly earlier. Hoax more, I think. UFO. The X3 is pretty continuous for me. I thought the UFO is kind of quick, kind of stand up ish.
Cleaner and sharper off the spot like that.
Yeah.
Gets forward more. Alan Riley, you can almost see that big belly laugh he's got going on now. So, yeah, Mom and Alan.
Yeah.
Just saw the Phase 5 in our pro shop coming to you with the new polish. So, polish balls coming out of the Storm factory again now. They found an answer, they believe. So, yeah, look for those. Color's a little different. Doesn't look. It's looks more like a
burner, afterburner.
Yeah, maybe.
The blue afterburner. That's what it kind of reminded me of.
Oh yeah, yeah. Kind of like an infinite with some pearl in it. Maybe, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Is a blue oil visible in person or just on TV?
In person, it's kind of cool. You can see where the lane hooks, where people have been bowling and stuff.
Yeah. We don't. Everybody thinks it's a big advantage, but we haven't bowled on it very much, so it's kind of hard to tell. Hey, when it gets to this color, it means this. As you can tell, there's lines there.
You can tell.
So. All right, just started bowling in AMF Louisville yesterday. That's our place. They just changed the house shot. Actually, it's been one of the toughest house shot places around. But what is a shot? Way too dry around 5-6 and slick around 10. Yeah, it looked like they pinched it in a little bit when we bowled the Labor Day tournament there. I would imagine you probably have to be around 12, 13, maybe.
13 to 8.
Yeah. Probably a good place to be. It's a little further left than it used to be, but there's a little more help and a little more hold in the middle lane. And he's using a proton physics and a dark code. Those are two pretty different balls. So
yeah,
Superwoman in the chat. What do you guys think about the PBA League Bowler thing starting this year?
I don't know much about it.
Yeah, I mean, you'll know a little bit more because I think it'll bowling in North Rock, which is now a Bolero Center, I believe.
Yeah, I've seen the score sheets. Score sheets are funky, but other than that.
Yeah, there's new software that they're using to do sheets and things like that and databases. I think they're ramping it up a little bit. I'm with Alan. I think the competition is good. I think it'll make USBC step up their game as well. And probably eventually there'll be one winner, so to speak, out of it. But that winner will actually have they'll be offering something the other one doesn't. And I'm not sure what that is yet. But in general, I do believe competition's good, even though it seems like kind of contentious at the moment. Yes, Phase 5 will be stateside. Overseas gets the balls earlier than we do. So, are we bowling the over under 50? I believe it's the same weekend as your Vegas tournament again.
Yeah, I think it is.
So,
Probably.
Yeah. So it'll probably be Beef and Barnzy, not Barnzy squared. Yeah. Here's a good question. What's the best drill to do for more consistent two-handed game? I assume they mean control.
It depends on the ball, and what kind of layout you want, and a bunch of other stuff.
Give them a basic 2LS layout that helps control.
2LS
You would say what, like a Shiny Nova or something like that, and then.
Give me 1 second. I'll look it up for you.
All right.
I would say control layout, like a 5 by, where's that? 5.5 by 3 by 3.5.
Say that again.
That's not really smooth. Where's my Zen layout? 5.5, 5.25 by 3.5 by 3.5. That's my Zen layout. It's my benchmark ball. I mean, it's pretty smooth, pretty continuous, mid laning.
Yeah. All right. There you go. And that's basically a pin.
It's a
Pin on
pin
your leverage. That's pretty strong.
pin above my ring, like 2 inches, an inch and a half above my ring.
Okay. Does a blue adept change how the pattern plays? It's so hard to tell because we don't pull on both, and the TV lights don't affect the patterns like they used to now that LEDs are a thing. Used to be there was so much lighting and it was so hot. Just the heat from the lights changed the temp, but LEDs are basically the same temp. It doesn't change. That part doesn't change. What does change is when you change the airflow with the stands, and so it makes it a little more sticky in there. But I think it changes a little, but it's really hard to say how much. Kind of tough. Here's a good one from the YouTube side. Would you rather beat your dad or Stu for your first title on tour?
I just want to win, but probably Dad.
Yeah. To be honest, I almost wouldn't mind that. At least if finish second. Pays a lot better to finish second than watch it from the side. One of us.
Whatever.
So, Alan, oh God, carried your dad and brother in doubles tournaments. When are you gonna let me carry you?
Oh boy. I don't bowl with toxic people.
Paul Wolf, my friend. I guess you met Paul over the weekend at North Rock.
Yeah.
Longtime friend of Mark Anderson and I. Used to work at the Showboat back when that was a thing before you were born. At the High Rollers, and probably the busiest pro shop in America at the time. Chiefs that good, or Arizona just trash?
Chiefs look good. Arizona's defense isn't that bad. I don't think.
Yeah,
No
I heard a
JJ
couple
Watt,
things.
obviously, but
yeah, that changed things for them. But yeah, they may be a little tougher to game. I mean, not tougher because there's no one that's Tiger Kill, but they have a lot more options at the moment. Yes, Troy does bowl. He's left-handed, so we have a two-hander and a left-hander. Obviously, both boys really respected what their mom and I did in the game, and decided to just follow the path identically. George Bood, George and Regina, their son Justin bowling for
St. Ambrose,
yeah, that's right, the other good team,
the other good team, yeah.
one of the other good teams. So, do you drill bowling balls or do you do drills for consistency?
Drills generally. I mean, court balls are court balls, so I can't really drill consistency. I don't think.
Yeah. What drills are what are you focusing on most on practice right now?
Right now it is about speed control. A lot of the time I've been throwing it hard for a while, so I'm trying to get back to where I can gear down consistently.
Expand your versatility window.
Yeah, just making sure it's all refined again.
Yeah. Well, and we've talked about on this a little bit. I think the biggest difference between, say, league and a lot of the amateur tournaments that are on more house type patterns is you're managing friction, and the tour has a lot to do with about creating friction or creating hook, managing hook versus creating hook, and there's just more oil down lane and less free hook, and so where you're looking to go, that's going to be the next one of the pieces you'll need, but there's a lot of them. Yeah, he probably wants to beat a bone for his first title. Well, there you go.
Just want to win, man.
Alan Riley liked your answer. You know, both toxic people. Who wins the match? Shockers versus LAX.
It's not close. Shockers.
This is like one of those questions they go, oh, Alabama could beat the Lions. And then you remember that the Lions, that every player they have is as good as the top three players on Alabama's team.
Yeah, okay.
So
I saw the way you guys bowled. I'm just saying.
that's cute. It's cute. You guys don't have as many amateur titles as each player on there has to professional titles. So,
Matter. Spencer's got a couple.
huh?
Spencer's got a couple.
Spencer's got a show.
I got youth titles.
Beating little Jimmy doesn't count the same as beating EJ and Simon.
Got his college paid for.
Best of 7. The longer it goes, the less chance they got. So
yeah, because further left is our issue.
You do know which team you're bowling against, right?
Yeah.
Belmo and Jacob, and after about 4 shots, Spencer will be whining about how much carry down there is and can't bowl with Jacob.
Yeah, he whines about carry down all the time. I haven't heard him ever whine about it, actually.
The old Barnes is back. Well, we'll see. So, bowling related, how'd your fantasy football teams fare? One of us played the other one and smacked him around.
4-man league. I mean, come on.
That one is purely for fun. But yeah. And the team that we co-drafted, yeah, we outscored Tina by quite a bit. I'm just saying. Yeah. Not that she's watching this morning, but
yeah, I won my other league by like 40.
Last week I heard you talking about being more upright at the line with targeting further down lane. It can help. I mean, if you look at if you look too far forward, it's easy to get your head down and do that. But it's really about being still all the way through. I mean, Stu looks down really low, and so he's got a little more forward tilt, but he doesn't move it down. It stays at that level, and that's the most important part. A ball surface scanner, good investment? I don't know, to be honest. I think it's probably pretty interesting information, but I don't know. I think it'd be a really good way to make sure your surfaces are different. Any specs on the Phase 5? What's cover and core? I think it's very similar to the Phase 4. The core will certainly be the same as the phases all the way through. So low RG symmetrical. Cover-wise, I believe it's R2S. So.
Oh, boy.
Wow. Hey, George, who beat you in league last night with their new 14-pound reality check?
Get him. Get him.
The right was obviously just easier. So.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I say. That is just a route. True. Belmo didn't win the team event. We'd have to carry Belmo in that one. So. I love the smack talk. Better quality than Quiet Ryan.
Yeah. Sheesh. It's a lot of managing.
Yeah. I appreciate it, Adam. I hope you're right, but we'll see. This was a theory that was going around when the Phase 1 was Phase 2 was fantastic. Phase 3 actually was pretty good, but it was a COVID ball. They just got lost.
Yeah.
Phase 4 had a lot of big momentum before that. So, yeah, we'll see. The right was way easier. You know who said that? No one ever. So, sorry, George. Thanks for your answers. Next time you're Dave, stop by David Haynes Pro Shop. We met during the Masters. Yeah, it's over there by 10 minutes from the Orleans or Gold Coast. From the Gold Coast? Well, basically, they're not far from each other anyway. So I didn't realize that was you. Small picture. Appreciate it. Thanks for what you did over there. So, Ryan, do you target the foul line, dots, arrows? And how do you generate so much speed? I mean, you are 10, 155 pounds.
I look at the arrows. I draw a line through my break point. Speed, it is feet, but it's also like hips and how they rotate and come together at the line, I think. But
so is it torque?
I think it's more torque, probably, yeah.
I mean, you notice like Kyle Troop and Vi, they basically their hips are square to their target.
Yeah,
Which early on, that was, oh, you can't do that. You have to turn sideways like a golfer, and you're seeing way, way less of that.
I don't really
They are
understand.
strong. I mean, those two dudes are both strong, and
Yeah.
you're underrated strong. I mean, you lifted, you've done some stuff.
Yeah.
But torque is it's kind of like being a baseball pitcher, I think. As
Yeah.
far as you're twisting against a solid post, which in this case is, along that right hip.
Yeah. I think it's more about how everything comes together, timing wise. It's hard to get power when you're throwing it with, some two-handers throw with all their upper body and then up front and some other stuff. So,
Brian, do you anticipate much urethane on Albee 39 and Waxahachie or Holman 38 and Rowlett? Two different fields, I think. I think Waxahachie might be the PBA 51. So in which case, because the rev rates are lower, not very much. And everything plays a little easier there. The Holman 38 and Rowlett, probably quite a bit. Center plays hard, and the gutter doesn't hook a lot, which means you have to play a little further in. 38 if the gutter hooks, and you can use a few different things, but you're gonna have to control the shape pretty good there. I would say, like for Ryan, it would be like shiny novas and things that kind of control type balls, reality, depending on how much the front hooks, or urethane, and keep the ball in front of you. What kind of drills can be done to help with getting more speed?
I don't even know. I really just went out there and tried stuff. I didn't really.
The drill, is there workouts you can do? I mean, you guys have a trainer there.
You can do squats. You can do a bunch of leg presses. Stretching. There's a bunch of stuff you do to strengthen the muscles that you use to throw it harder, I think.
Yeah, certainly technique is a huge part of it, but I do think the one advancement with two-handed bowling is I think you do have to be in better shape.
Yeah, I think it definitely helps you throw harder.
I'm not worried about break. I think you use the same muscles, so much like bowling one-handed, if you do it long enough, obviously there's going to be wear and tear on your body. But I do think it's hard to be super heavy. It's hard to be have poor leg strength or endurance and do what you do. So, do you believe technology of balls is starting to outpace the game skill of the players? Well, I guess the answer to that would be, which players do you think are winning only because of the bowling balls? And if you think there's players winning only because of the bowling balls, then there's probably an argument to be had. In my opinion, Belmo, Simo, EJ wouldn't struggle with rubber, plastic, urethane. I think they'd all bowl just fine with all of those things because they're a pretty versatile group that can play. They can throw it hard, they can throw it slow, they can change rotations, and they can play a lot of different ways. So, but you have a relatively fresher look at that. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't think so. It might be outpacing the oil in the lane more than.
That's actually a good point.
More than the players, but that's about it.
Yeah, the oils kind of get slower. It just seems like the balls hook more and more and more. Now they hook all the time, but
yeah, I could do it.
Yeah, I don't believe the bowling balls are causing wins. I was thinking the bowling balls are making the game easier. Well, I think what it does is separate people more, because what used to be reactive balls, and this is why urethane, in my opinion, is coming back so strongly, is reactive balls make easy patterns easier and they create entry angle, but they make hard patterns harder because they're also reacting to all the the wrong areas on the lane.
Yeah.
And so they make a lot hard, unless your skill level is super high. And that's even on the tour level. I think there's medium level tour guys really struggle on some of those hard patterns, and that's why they've gone to using urethane because it covers things up.
Makes things a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, this is not far from what they did 25 years ago. STP.
It goes straight.
Yeah. He won his first with plastic on the right lane. Yeah. True that. I believe bowling balls outpace lane surfaces. Nah, I mean lane surfaces. You can cover up lane surfaces, and even an old synthetic lane is still less beat up than a wood lane. But we have not kept up as far as covering up that surface as much as we used to.
Yeah.
Thicker oils, but not necessarily slicker oils. So
Yeah, just amount of oil.
yes, I bowled a couple of those tournaments where they oil them by hand. I mean, they can be slicker than slick. They can hook. You can do anything. We've done them by hand. When we bowled on Letterman, we did them by hand ourselves. And you can wall them up that way. You can make them, you can make them anything, just like a regular lane machine, maybe even more. My opinion on strings, it varies based off of which versions. I think there's some iterations that are going to be pretty good. There's some that would say bring integrity back where they're really hard to knock over and let slower scoring, and some that are way too easy to knock over. I don't know how much you bowled on them, Ryan.
I haven't bowled on them at all. I know Kep really likes them because he feels like he can make every single spare possible, but that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, washouts, you just kind of get it over there in the direction and the strings knock over the 10 pin. We saw some stuff at that World Bowling event that was pretty absurd. It was disappointing that for a group that really wanted to see that succeed, didn't do a little more research and get the best iteration out as the first showcase. That was a fairly disappointing event all the way around, from format being way too short for a world event to the number of crazy spares and splits that were made that didn't get made by any current metric. So, all right, we're sneaking up here on an hour. We'll take a couple more questions, if any, and but appreciate Boy Wonder joining us today.
Jays.
Got to get him out to class, earn that degree.
Let's go.
Think strings will go the same way the Sato rack went in pool? I don't think so. I think they're here because they're quite a bit cheaper, and there's a lot of old centers that need to be replaced but don't make enough money to bring in new machines. Well, and for those of you that care, which I'm assuming is almost none of you, I want to take a couple questions away. Well, that may not be far off.
Not all night.
I don't want to know. So, plausible deniability.
How does it feel to be Alan Riley? Here's Mike.
I missed Alan bowling solid last night. What's that? 560?
Probably keeps track of the 600s.
It's his own personal underscore. It's all right. Everybody's got it. We all have goals. So I'm sure this will get an answer.
6 out, 6 out, 6.
That's how it feels to be Alan Riley. Yeah. Or the devil, 666. I'm not sure. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back Thursday with Darren Tang. We'll get our co-host here up to speed, and he might be joining us more often when he needs to fill in. But if you would, please support the sponsors that support us. Storm, Rotogrip, 9 Air Global, Coolwick, Bowlers Mart, Pinnacle GPS, Fire Lake Bowling Center, Lightning Strikes, and Platinum Ford. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.